Hello, welcome to release webinar QPR ProcessAnalyzer 2020.1. I'm Yen and I'll be your host for today. And with me here I have Teemu.
Hello everybody, it's Teemu here. Good to see you.
And Olli.
Nice to see you. Welcome to the webinar.
Yeah, this is the agenda for today. After the introduction, Teemu will take over and present about ProcessAnalyzer 2020.1, and then Olli will talk a bit about the next update, 2020.2, and I just want to remind you that you can always check out our customer success stories on our website. The link is qpr.com customers. And yeah, welcome to the first release webinar of the year. I hope you have a good time.
Okay. Okay, super good to be here, and I'm so happy to talk about QPR ProcessAnalyzer 2020.1. And I just told Yen that I have material for maybe 2 or 3 hours. So please keep on sending the questions. And if you really want to go to the details, I'm very happy to book a session after this webinar to go into more details. But let's see what we have for today. So the main topics we have are the real-time process mining, and then I'm going to introduce 2 pre-configured process mining charts, and then talk about the user statistics reporting. But the really big thing is the real-time process mining. And let's get right into the content. So I even made this kind of sort of a background for the case. So there's the illustrative person Maria. Well, actually there is a real Maria also, and she's working in QPR as a consultant. But let's say that in this example, Maria is working in a big company, and she has made a lot of process mining models, and they are covering all the processes of the organization. And then there's a training program, and there are like hundreds of employees who are already using process mining for several needs, like RPA automation, process excellence, internal audit, and so on. But these are like process models Maria has somehow manually, or including manual steps, she has been doing. And now the challenge in the organization and with Maria is that after making the initial findings of those processes, the colleagues start to ask continuously for up-to-date process mining models. So there are very many situations where there's a big difference in getting an up-to-date process mining model or a model built with, let's say, last year data or last whatever analysis data. And now let's get into the 5 use cases I have also illustrated in the blog article about this new version. So there are of course many more, but I will go through these 5 different kind of use cases where Maria's colleagues want to have more up-to-date, more real-time process mining models. And they are the business review models, ad hoc models, customer-specific models, then the real-time dashboard screens, and the case-level prediction models. All of these benefit a lot when they can be done with the real-time, with the new QPR 2020.1, delivering even further advanced and great functionality for building these real-time models. So it has already been possible, but now we have added a wide range of new functionalities to make these real-time models really, really, really useful and easy to manage. So first of all, the business review process models. This is one of the most typical use cases why our customers switch to these continuously loading models, is that they want the business review to have the models ready whenever they have a business review setting. And basically that means that whenever the period completes, the business wants to have the new models available right away. So it can be a quarter. Well, then maybe you have a couple of days time to prepare the models. It can be a month. By the end of the month, they will want to review how the previous month went. But then you go to the week. How did we do last week? You go to the day. How was yesterday? And then you go to the working shift, where you are like changing to the new employees when they start the new shift. You want to see how the previous shift was doing. All of this is easy to achieve with the real-time models. So with these models, you can immediately review, find the bottlenecks, rework, and your KPIs, and you can see that directly in the end of this shift or the review period. Then ad hoc process models. This is a very common use case, for example, in internal audit. So whenever internal audit wants to analyze and audit a certain business unit, whether it's a geographical location, a company code in SAP system, or certain business, audit typically wants to see all the possible details of the business, but for a limited amount of cases. So these kind of ad hoc process models are something that they just want to kind of take that model and start analyzing it right away. So basically, the ad hoc models work in a way that you just give the parameter, what is the company code that you want to see, press OK, and then the model loads into your memory, and you have it right there, real time, with the data that was in the ERP system at that particular moment when you started this. So this is like you can open the model today, right now, and see what was in your ERP system 1 hour ago or 1 minute ago. Yes. And then we have the customer specific process models. So imagine that you call to the customer care help desk, and you start to ask that where are my deliveries, and what's the project you want to achieve is running late, and there's no deliveries or some hassle over there. So now the customer service or the logistic workers, they would benefit of having an access to the process mining model that contains all those events and cases related to that particular customer. And of course, it has to be real time. It has to have all those things that have happened maybe 5 minutes ago or whatever. So the customer service or the logistic worker again goes to ProcessAnalyzer and opens the model with the settings that I want this model to be created for this particular customer. And then you have the analysis ready, up and running. You can see all the open flows that are there, and you can also see the past cases. So you can see that, oh, all of the other cases are going to this country, but now this one case is going to the wrong country. There's something wrong in the metadata, or the metadata is changed, and yes, indeed, it is now going to the right direction. So this extends the usage of the process mining analysis into more operational needs when we have the ability to do the real-time process models. Okay, then one which is one of my personal favorites is the dashboard screen. And dashboard screen is kind of a workflow, it's kind of a factory floor screen that is showing how the process is going at the moment and showing the current KPIs for that working shift or for that working day or for the whatever the duration is. So this is basically in a way the same as the review period models that we discussed already in the beginning, but this is a certain screen that is designed to feel like the whole monitor, and the screen includes the process flow chart and it includes the KPIs. And that screen is updating, let's say, once per minute or once per 5 minutes or whatever the period is. And of course, having the real-time dashboard screen requires the process mining product to support this kind of real-time process mining concepts. So there needs to be the technology that supports this. But the real-time dashboard screens is so nice to come to work and to see that, okay, how are we doing? What are the lead times? What are the amount of rework, and what are the kind of the successes that we have been able to do directly in this screen? And then the last use case where the real time is actually super mandatory is the case level prediction. So you probably know that QPR Process Analyzer has it's one of the leading products in the area of predicting what is going to happen to an open case. And that prediction is done based on the history of all the past cases that have already been completed, and now this history of the open case that has gone through certain steps. So in this situation, we can predict what is going to happen to that particular open case. Well, of course, the prediction, if we make a prediction today, but if the data is something coming from previous year, long time ago, then many things have happened already between that. So making a predictions based on only super old data is not very useful. But making a prediction, what is going to happen today, having all the information up to this moment, that is really useful. So we can, for example, once per day, once per shift, once per hour, we can predict what are the customer care tickets that have a highest probability of running late. And that is based on all the history of all the other tickets as well, plus the history of that particular ticket. Maybe the ticket only came half an hour ago, but it will now be included in this hour's prediction. And of course, the case level prediction is super nice to be included into the real-time dashboard screen. So the dashboard can always show those, let's say, top 10 cases that have the highest probability to running late or entering into whatever the problem the company wants to avoid. So all of this can be put together by using the real-time process mining functionality that is delivered in QPR Process Analyzer. So please feel free to write the questions, and I'm eager to go forward to showing how this works in practice. So in order to get this setup working, there's always the data systems that are producing the original ERP data, or let's say the Internet of Things data. So it can also be some systems that are sending events without storing them, but they are the data systems that are producing the data. And now there's 3 steps that need to be done. We need to establish a connection to that particular data. That's called the extraction set. Then we need to transform the data into process mining format, which is events and cases. And then we need to load those events and cases into the process mining tool, QPR Process Analyzer. And now the new process model is ready to be used. And of course, for example, to the dashboard screen, if you want the dashboard to be updated in 1-minute intervals, all of this needs to be done in 1-minute intervals. If you have a lot of data, you need some sophisticated tools to make that work. So I will briefly discuss and show about those tools. But these are the steps that there are. And now these are the tools. So maybe you get an idea why I could be talking about this for several hours. But let me give an overview of this. And as said, I'm really happy to go into more details. So first of all, you have the ERP systems that are running there, and you have the files that are stored into your file systems, and you have the raw data somewhere. Now we want to make a connection. In the extraction side, we want to make a connection. So we use an extraction tool, and we have certain connections. And these are database connections, ODBC, OLADB, ADODET, which is SQL. Then there are some system-specific connections like SAP, Salesforce. They have some specific interfaces we can be using. And then there's a generic web service interface, which you can use to connect to whatever cloud-based application that you are running. And then you have the possibility to manually import the data, or actually the file uploader can do that manually importing on your behalf. So you can, for example, upload files with every minute. If there's a new data, you can upload the files. So somebody can produce the files and you can keep on uploading them. And then there's a push data. So actually ProcessAnalyzer can be there waiting for the data, and your other application can push the data into QPR ProcessAnalyzer. So it's then not controlled by QPR ProcessAnalyzer to starting the extract, but it can be like in this real-time process mining. The process mining can be running there in the server, and then some other application is pushing the new data to QPR ProcessAnalyzer at that exact moment when the data becomes available. And that's the way how it goes into the new process model, and it gets refreshed. Okay, the extraction tools we are running over here include the QPR ProcessAnalyzer components, server, Excel clients, script launchers, and the web service APIs. And of course, we support the third-party ETL tools and connectors that you also may have in your own setup. So, all of these tools are made to get the connection to the data. And then once you extract the data, you can actually extract the complete data, let's say for 2 years. But if you want to do real time, then you need to have the possibility to do the incremental loading. So maybe some of the data is already extracted, like let's say last year, 2019. If it's not going to change in some data tables, you just load the new data. And actually, as that is possible, the better chance is that you just load the newest data since the last refresh. So for example, if you do this once per 10 minutes, then you just load the new data that came within the last 10 minutes. That's the incremental. Okay, this is the extraction part. Then we have the transformation part. So for the transformation to be possible, you need to have some kind of storage for the data, where you store the data that you will then start to transform. And there are many possibilities in QPR ProcessAnalyzer: persistent data tables, integration databases, sandboxes, and process models. And now this in-memory data frame is one of the new functionalities we added in this particular 2020.1 release. So transforming the data in using this in-memory data frame means that you can have a direct connection to the source system, and you don't need to write the data anywhere to any place, because you are just creating an ad hoc model or this kind of a super fast refreshing dashboard. So in memory makes all of these operations super fast, and that's one secret why QPR can push this real-time process monitoring and real-time process mining into much faster cycle than with the traditional components. Okay, and then what is the way how to do the mapping? We have been using the ETL scripts a lot, and now for the in-memory ETL, we have a wide range of new sophisticated in-memory functionality in our tool. That's the ETL expressions, and in my blog article there are links to these examples. Maybe I just super quickly jump into that and show that in the QPR website you have the access to this real-time process mining, and there's the familiar picture where we are at the moment, and then we have the explanation for all of this stuff, and there are the links to the corresponding places where you can go and check all the details. And these are the links to our documentation in this in our wiki pages. Okay, so the transformation tools, and of course you can also use your own ETL tool for the transformation. And again, in the transformation, you can sort of do the transformation for the whole complete data set that you have now available, or just do the incremental part of the new data. And now when this is when this transformation is done, you get the events and cases, and then you will be loading the model, and there are traditional way in QPR ProcessAnalyzer to store to the process model. There's a new added way in this release. You can also store the data into data tables. That's an internal possibility to make things a little bit faster, and also permanent, persistent storage for the data tables. Or then you have a third option, which is in memory, which again is bypassing all the delays that come from storing into databases and disks, and just keeps the data in memory. So this in-memory storage for the model again is making it super fast. So if you imagine about the dashboard, on-screen dashboard that is updating once per minute, you can have the in-memory for the model storage, in-memory for the transformation, and for example, direct ODBC connection to SAP HANA. So then your data will not be written into any disk at all. It will just be displayed in the dashboard screen. And if you want to analyze further, drill down, do the root cause analysis, everything is possible because it is a full complete process mining model. Okay, now the last question, how do the models get created? So it could be periodically, like you create a new model every month, every week, day, shift, and so on. It can be manually started. It can be the RPA tool that is starting it in certain situation in the customer care, customer support, for example. There can be a workflow that is started when customer is calling to you, or when you open an email from the customer, then the robot can actually require and request for the process mining model for that particular customer based on the email address. And then you have the ad hoc models, for example, to the internal audit. They can specify the parameters for the model, and then they just get the model for that particular country and company code or whatever combination they want to have. Dashboard screens are automatically updated and refreshed, and then it can also be the external push data. So the other application which is pushing the data to ProcessAnalyzer is also requesting a new model to be created. All of this is supported by QPR ProcessAnalyzer, and eventually what you get is a lot of process models, and then you also can control very easily and sophisticatedly how long the model will be kept in memory. Is it required to keep a certain amount of time after it has been idle that you drop from the memory, or is it a memory requirement? You have a lot of models, so you want to free memory at certain stage. And then how do you delete, archive, restore the models from the persistent permanent storage locations. So this is what I called real-time process mining. These are the components, and with these components you can build the solutions for all those 5 use cases that Emma had in this example: business review models, ad hoc models, customer specific models, real-time dashboards, and the prediction models. Okay, it's been a lot of talking, and I see the time is running, so I jump to my other topics for today, but the real-time process mining was my main thing. Okay, now let's jump to the topic number 2, pre-configured process mining charts, and I've highlighted 2 of these. Case trend by selected event. So this is available as a chart view. So you just go to chart view, take the preset, and then you have the selection for the event type, return with notification, which I have selected this particular event type. And now let's select the week as the period level. And now we see this histogram picture showing how many cases with that particular event happening for the first time is there in every specific week. Okay, so this is a case trend by the selected event preset. And then we have a root cause analysis, which allows you to identify the problem. Case duration is 12 weeks or more, and then you see the prioritized list with the most significance root causes first. For example, I have selected this customer group kids, and it shows in a nice tooltip in English language that why the customer group kids is a good candidate as a root cause. So you can see the figures over there. There's much more of this problem. Cases are taking much more longer in this customer group than on average. And then in this root cause preset view, you can drill down to next level root causes. What is different in those kids cases? And then eventually you will find the root causes that are there in your data. Okay, and then ProcessAnalyzer user statistics reporting. There we have 5 new preset views and they all let you to understand how your process mining models are being used. So you get an understanding of how people are using, what is the best analysis that they are doing, what is most useful. And then also you can ensure that the results are delivered to the right people. So you see that if somebody should be there, you can see that, okay, he or she has not been using. And then on the other hand, if there's like challenges that, okay, these people should not be using these areas, you can double check how you have configured the user rights. But you have a full access to full user statistics. And I was doing this slide and I was like checking how these configurations go. So it's quite nice that when you run the dashboard, sorry, the chart view. Let's see if I'm running the session open here. So these pre-configured views, they are very nice. Views to study a little bit how you can build your own chart views. So this is the preset selections over here. And if I take, for example, the operations by time, so once I select that, in this system, it will load all these operations, and once we have the operations over here, we can go to see with the KPI designer views that how this kind of chart views can be built. And there's quite a lot of usage in this system, so that may take a while. While it's loading, I'm just showing that there's always a visualization. Do we want to use as a table or the column chart, for example? There's a selection of what are the columns in your report, and then there's the dimension. And for example, operations by time, the starting time will make this as a trend chart. And in these operation durations, selecting these selections will make it a histogram or the summary report. So the chart view is super flexible. And now we see that this is the operations by time. And in here we can check that, yes, it's a column chart, and the measure is operation count, and the dimension is starting time, and the period here is by the day. So there's roughly 4,000, 5,000 operations taking place every day in this particular system. And the presets that you have available, we have a wide range of these, and these will help you to use the chart view functionality. Okay, this was the user statistics report that I also showed. So these were the 3 things: real-time process mining, and then these pre-configured views, and the usage statistics reporting.
Yes, thank you, Teemu. Now we will quickly move on with the QPR ProcessAnalyzer 2020.2 with Olli. Yeah.
Yeah, many exciting things in progress. So I would like to make a couple of highlights. Okay, actually our slide currently only contains one item, but well, that's the most important one. So in the next release, there will be improved user interface for editing and managing filters. So as you have seen, we are step by step building this new header there. Currently, it already contains the models and the filter rules. But then in addition to that, you can save those filter rules to the system with your custom defined name and change and edit them. So user interface for that. So previously it has been inside this ProcessAnalyzer presentation object, but having that to the header is a much more better place for the user experience point of view. But okay, also other things, for example, well, we saw those pre-configured chart views. Again, some new stuff came, so these usage reportings, but well, the next release again contains some new pre-configured chart views. So let's see what new exciting things there will come. And okay, as a last thing, I could mention that in the next release, there will be a functionality to get links to dashboards. So if you want to send, for example, send a link to your colleague for a interesting ProcessAnalyzer dashboard, you can just click get the link and then send that link to your colleague. So those things, for example, are coming in the next release.
Thank you, Olli. Now, yeah, if you have any questions or comments, we'll be happy to answer them and leave it in the question box. We look forward to hearing your opinions. And yeah, after this webinar, we will send you a link of the recording for today, a link to our community site, and you can also search for it by going directly to community.qpr.com and search for new release webinars. And follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook to get more updates from us. And you can always reach us with the marketing@qpr.com email.
I think it's good. And if you want the demo or discuss about the details in the real-time process mining, as said, please do contact, well, your account manager or the consultants that you are working with, or of course QPR marketing or directly me, and we are happy to show and talk about the technical details of those functionalities.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Yeah, we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.